Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another one of Rob's Inner Circle here on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, we're going to have another great and exciting guest, as usual. So, you people want to stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We have a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. But before we go anywhere, we got our guest standing by. I just wanted to give a big shout out to our producer and my good friend, Miss Jenny Duhane, who puts the show together, and it's thanks to her talents that we make the show as good as it is. So thank you, Jenny, for being there. Also, I wanted to outline last week we released the third episode of Daily Struggles, and we're very happy with your implication, all your comments, your sharing, and the likes and all that. So thank you very much. We're very happy. Patty Saragosa, once again, my co-star, beautiful and talented Patty. She pulls it off very well. She's a great actress to work with, and she makes it a lot of fun. Can you imagine when you're actually going to work? It's not actually work. It's fun. It's playtime, and you're laughing like half the way through the day, and you're just enjoying yourself. So it's a lot of fun being on set with Patty. Thank you, Patty, for being there. Shout out to our cameo appearing actor, Mr. Claudio Silvio Capri, who's a local stand-up comedian. He was on our show for that episode, and he's also the headliner of Offbeat Comedy here in Montreal. I believe back in coming up in September, he's going to be starting up once again with the comedy show. So you people might want to check him out as well. He's also part of the Dirty Four podcast. So Claudio, you did a great job on our show. And of course, I do not want to forget our talented voice master, Mr. Art Leduc, who narrates on our show. Another great job you did, buddy. Good stuff. Our show is just getting better and better. We have quality people working behind and in front of the camera. So, guys, thanks again for your support. And last but not least, I do want to mention that I want to invite you people to come on over. Okay, you come on to our YouTube channel. It's called Bobby Short Shorts. We have various productions. We invite you to come and watch our productions. Give us the thumbs up. Watch at least 2 minutes. Okay, you want to share, you want to talk about us, you want us to grow. And of course, thank you very much for all the support you've given us. And it's through you that we can get somewhere. So you want to subscribe, you want to push the notification bell as well, because as soon as there's a new production, you'll be the first to know. Okay, guys, let's get ready for the show. But before we go anywhere, we have our weekly ritual. That's right. So, guys, before we start the show, slip into your pajamas. Usually, I would pour myself a nice glass of wine, but for the cause, my guest is a beer drinker tonight. So I'm going to be joining him in support, drinking a nice cold Heineken beer tonight. Great beer. You guys got to try it if you don't know about. And so you guys want to slip into your pajamas, have the beer, throw your feet on the corner of the table over here. Just lay back, relax, enjoy yourselves. Have a sip of beer. I love that juice. Oh, God, is it good? Yeah. Okay, let us carry the load and enjoy the show. It's showtime. Let's get it on. Okay, our guest, at the age of 7, he was in his first school play called The Wizard of Oz. He hadn't seen the movie yet because he did not want to get influenced, right? So he wanted to just do it his own way. And then from then on, he went to appear in every play, every talent show, and any opportunity he had to perform. For the past 30 years, our guest has been an actor. He's done some comedy. He's also a teacher at the Montreal School of Performing Arts. He's my teacher as well. We'll be talking about that very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Terence Bowman. Good evening,
Hello,
Terence.
how you doing?
Great stuff. Thanks for being on the show, Terence.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here.
Fantastic.
It's like fun. I know. I have my beer also.
All right. Hey, you know what? Let's head on the show. Like, hit it off the right way.
All right.
There you go. That's a Rickards Red. Am I right?
What's that?
Is that a Rickards Red?
No, actually, this is it's a lager. I'm gonna plug this independent beer company now.
Go on, go on.
Bench Stone Road Blanche Ale Bench. This is on Ontario microbrewery. Anyways, it's beer that I like. They're not paying me. This is just beer I like.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we go.
So you know what? There's a whole bunch of juice. There's apple juice. We got the grape juice, but us, we like lager juice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a better taste of it, right?
Take another drink, knock that down. I get knocked down, I get back up again. I wish I knew the lyrics to that song, but you know.
Oh, that's a Tom Cochrane song, a Red Rider.
Chumbawamba, I think, is the band. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Well, go on, Terrence. Go on. Go on.
No, I feel like that. You know, I'm not here to sing. Trust me.
Okay. Really? Okay. Just in case, you know, you might have a hidden talent we didn't talk about.
Neither hidden nor talent.
Okay. So, Terrence, okay, we'll give you a break. We'll let you go with that. But tell us, at age 5, you already knew you wanted to be an actor, and you could relate to all these firemen shows, these astronauts and all that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah. Wow, this is going to be this is cool because I'm like in my 50s and we're only at when I'm 5 now. So this is going to be a long show. The whole thing was, there was this whole thing about, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up, when you're a kid? And I used to say astronaut, cop, secret agent, all these things. And I would always give a list rather than just focusing on one thing. And scuba diver, I think, was in there. And people would ask, well, why so many things? And I would say, because I saw them on TV and they were cool. And then I think it was my older brother pointed out, well, you know, those guys on TV, they're not cops, they're not scuba divers, they're not astronauts, they're actors. And immediately I was like, tell me more about these actors. What is that? And from that moment onwards, it was I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Well, great. Okay. And so you also wrote, directed, and you acted in numerous amateur and student films and videos. Yeah,
I did. That was a big part of my training, if you want to call it that. When I was a kid in my teens, I was part of a community theater group that was full of teens, run actually by a guy now who's actually kind of a big-ish name in the city, Harry Standjofski, an actor. He was like he was like 20 or something at the time when I did that, and I did a ton of plays with him. I was also part of a video group. We shot and made our own videos. This is at a time when, you know, people weren't walking around with HD cameras in their phones, right? It was, you know, you wanted to go shoot a video back in those days, you had to pack on this portable hernia thing and this huge camera. You know, we had to edit video VCR to VCR with the VCR rolling back because it was designed that way so that people, when they're cutting out commercials. Anyways, it was really it took a lot of work to be able to do that. It's back then. So that's something I did a lot of.
Okay, so you studied at theater workshop at John Abbott College in Ste-Anne-de-Bellevue.
Yes. Yeah. The Country Club CEGEP, as they used to call it. I don't know if you've been out there, but John Abbott is a beautiful campus out on the West Island, and it's one of the few CEGEP campuses that really is a campus, as opposed to like some of them are closer to an office building than a campus, and it was all kind of spread out. And if you've ever been out there, it's beautiful. And yeah, I did the theater workshop program, which is as opposed to the professional theater program that they have at Abbott, where you do 3 years and boom, you're out, you're an actor, or so to speak. This was a pre-university. It was 2 years, and you did a bunch of different classes, and we put on like 4 shows or something in that time, and and then that theoretically prepared you to go to Concordia or Concordia of all the schools that offer theater degrees in English. I think McGill's got something, but just because they're trying to keep up. Anyways, I'm gonna hear from McGill about that. Anyways, that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay, and so you began your career actually in an amazingly successful fashion with sketch comedy, and you were also a member of the nationally renowned Montreal-based comedy sketch group called the Vestibules.
Yes, yes. Also known as Radio Free Vestibule. We started out with that name. Yeah, we started actually, we were doing shows at a club called Station 10, which is it's still there. It's called something else. I think maybe it's a chicken restaurant now. I don't know. Anyways, it was they used to do these Sunday night comedy things, and that's where I met Bernard Deniger, and later at Concordia I met Paul Paré, and we were the Vestibules. And yeah, we started doing radio stuff for Radio McGill. And then eventually we got demos to CBC, and CBC hired us to do sketches. And I mean, I was kind of, you know, at that time, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. I'd done a degree in communications at Concordia, thinking that the acting thing was going to be too unstable. And then I realized, yeah, I don't want to be doing this. So I started steering back towards acting. And part of that was performing comedy, because it was very easy to get stage time at that time. And so it just kind of, it wasn't really a plan, but it just kind of shot off that way. And it was amazingly successful. We got, we were hired as regulars on a couple of CBC radio shows. We went to CBC TV. I went from, I had a job refilling vending machines at Concordia, the university I had a degree from. That was my first job, was refilling vending machines there.
Okay.
I went from that to writing and recording and performing in sketches for CBC radio in the space of like 2 months. It was, yeah, it was an interesting time.
Okay, so you're also you're in an improv group called On the Spot.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
they were at the time. It's still the longest city, the city's longest running English improv troupe. Right?
That's right. So, yeah. We formed in 1990, and I left in 2011, and the troupe, I think, still existed up till 2014, something like that. And yeah, there's no other troupe that I know of in English anyways. On the French side, probably there's something that ran, well, I know LNE definitely ran way longer than that. Yeah, so yeah, we were, at one time I was doing 6 shows a week of improv.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No wonder you're such an amazing teacher. And speaking of which, teacher, Terrence, folks, is my teacher right now. He's teaching at the Montreal School of Performing Arts, and I signed up for one of his classes, improv comedy. And guys, it's absolutely fantastic. I've taken my 2nd class, and Terrence, it takes you places where if you're a little bit weary, he's gonna help you accomplish what you have to accomplish. Shake off that fear, because my class today, it was a little bit challenging, and Terrence threw a couple of things at us that were a little bit difficult, and I actually ended up pulling it off, and I'm proud that I did that, and thanks to Terrence. So Terrence, can you talk to us a little bit about the improv class that you're giving at MSLPA?
Yeah, well, the online versions, I used to teach them live. I used to teach a combined sketch and improv class where we would do a big showcase at the end. We'd get into one of the comedy clubs, Comedy Nest or Comedy Works when it still existed. And we'd do these huge, big showcases at the end, and everybody would bring their friends. And that was in the before time. That was before the pandemic. Now we do them online, and it's a much more interesting. It's very different than the live version, but it's very intimate too, as you know, you've done it. Yeah, and we just I teach you the basics of improv. I also teach I'm going to be teaching acting again in the fall, which I haven't taught since actually before the shutdown. And we test ran a sketch comedy performing class that went pretty well. There's comedy for actors too, which is a particular specialty of mine because I've done both. So yeah.
But you're an amazing teacher, Terence, and hats off to you, and hats off to Josa, who's running the Montreal School for Performing Arts. She has got absolutely talented people working there. But, you know, the bottom line is that all the people working there, like Josa herself, you're all passionate about the industry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Josa, I mean, I've been teaching there since 2005. So
wow.
Yeah, and yeah, it's been a great run. I didn't really ever think about teaching at all. It's weird to say this, but fortunately, work got really slow for a while there, early 2000s, and I needed something to do, and I needed work, and somebody told me about Josa, or recommended me to Josa, and so yeah, and I started teaching improv there, and I started teaching acting, which I wasn't really sure that was anything I could or wanted to do, and it just like took right away. And it's great because I get to meet all these fascinating people like yourself, people from all different age groups. I had a class once where the youngest student was 18 and the oldest student was 70.
Whoa.
So it's like the range I deal with there. And it's really quite fascinating. You get people who, sometimes I get people who are actually like fully trained actors and stuff who just want to come back and do something. Or I had one guy who was quite an accomplished actor in French, but he just wanted to work in English. So he took my class. Another woman who was an actor, you know, I think it was Venezuela, and she just relocated here, and she just, you know, wanted to get used to the working in English in this city and all that. So yeah. Or on the other hand, I've got people who, you know, said, hey, yesterday I just thought about acting, and now I'm here today. So how does this work? What's going on? So yeah, it's just such a wide range of stuff, and Josa's great. Josa's really kept this thing going, and I think the way that she has adapted the school to our current COVID-19 crisis, moving everything online and really kind of reinventing the school in a way. Who knows for how long? I think she's done a great job with that.
I've known Josa for many years, and she always was innovative, and she's absolutely brilliant. She is a great person, you know, like at school and even outside. I don't know her personally outside, but I used to pick up her mom on the bus all the time. And she would tell me about Josa, how much of a great person she is. And definitely you got a great bus. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the 1980s, Terence, you played the role of Captain Kirk in 3 hit productions of Star Trek on stage. I want to hear about this.
Okay. Well, that actually was in that was in the early 90s. I did those. But it's okay. I prefer to skip over the 80s anyways. It wasn't my favorite decade. But yeah, I did actually play Kirk for the first time in the 80s at Harry Standjofski wrote a parody play of Star Trek. It's called Star Trek, the motion play, I think.
Star Trek.
Yeah. So that was actually the first time I played him, and it kind of floored me when he decided to cast me as that, because I didn't really, you know, I was a fan, and I watched Shatner a lot, and really one of the inspirations for me to becoming an actor is William Shatner. And I know people will roll their eyes at that because he you know, he's been made fun of a great deal, largely by, but I don't think he is nearly as bad an actor as he has been made out to be. But anyway, so yeah, I did play him first in the 80s in that show. And then in the 90s, 1992, you know, they renamed the University Center at McGill to the William Shatner University Center, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
And we opened, 1992 was the year that it officially opened. And they decided at McGill Players Theater that year to do these plays of take Star Trek plays and do them verbatim on stage. Just like do them exactly as they were written for TV and do it as best as you could on stage, with a guy running around with a model, the Enterprise and stuff. And that was big in the 90s because they were doing Brady Bunch live. They did Gilligan's Island live. It was a big thing doing that. And yeah, so I heard about that and I went in and auditioned for Kirk, and I got it, and we ran that show 2 more times. Yeah, 3 runs altogether, all of them huge hits. Most of the runs were extended. Still know, and I am in contact with many of the people who were in that. Still good friends with the guy who played Spock. Yeah, so.
Wow, and now word has it that apparently you do an amazing impersonation of Captain Kirk. Now, this is what the rumor is. Now,
well, I will let others be the judge of that. It was kind of my shtick for a while, was imitating Shatner. And I think that's a cue for me to do this, right? That's what you're getting at there?
Yeah, yeah, that is a cue.
I'll do it as best as I can from memory. This was, as for my audition piece to go in to do, to audition for the role of Kirk. And I didn't know anybody doing the show. It was Jeremy Heckman, by the way, who directed it, who went on to run the Montreal Fringe Festival for years and years, and ran Mainline, and now I believe he runs the Wiggle Room. So anyways, I went in and I decided not to do anything from Star Trek, and not to do it. I chose a Shakespeare monologue from the Scottish play, because actors don't say the title of that play. And so I can, if I remember it, it's been a while, but I can try and do it now as the way I did it then. And Kirk didn't wear glasses, nor was he. I'm rocking more the Sean Connery look here than the Shatner look, but and that is totally me just being subjective about that. So let's see if I can remember how it goes. You're right. Here's how I did it. Okay, hang on. Is this a dagger I see before me? Handle towards my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, yet I see thee still. Art thou fatal vision, sensitive to touch as to feeling? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation created by a heat oppressive brain? And I don't know any more of this monologue.
Wow, that was amazing. Really good.
I did the whole monologue. I used to know it off by heart. And I because they made us learn that in high school for some reason. Anyway, so I still remembered it from then. And yeah, I did the whole thing. And I remember Jeremy said, "That is the most creative thing I've ever seen."
It was very good.
Maybe I got it. Maybe I got it after that. But they still brought me into a callback, and then So and then I was quite well known for that for quite a while, and I remember being booked. I was booked for to do a voice for an animated series at the time, Mona the Vampire, I think it was. And a lot of times you back then, the glory days of the Montreal acting scene, you get booked to do something and you didn't really know what it was. And usually with animation, you didn't see a script until you showed up. And oh, and behold, they had me. They wanted me to do Shatner in the context of this monologue. It was somebody who was acting like him or something. The Mona the Vampire goes to space. I can't remember what it was exactly. And so they called me in just to do that. And I thought that was, on the one hand, I was a little sort of, oh, geez, I wish they called me in to do like something more acting than this. But at the same time, I was also kind of flattered that, you know, we need a Shatner voice, get Terence Bowman in here, you know. This is a great thing. Yeah. And then I did a whole bunch of imitations. Would do them for used to do them for the vestibules. I actually did Sean Connery too at one point, and Adam West was another one that I did. We did an improvised Batman with On the Spot. We used to do these improvised movies, and it was really hard to do Adam West, and after having done Shatner, because they're so similar to each other. There's a TV pilot that Adam West and William Shatner did called Alexander the Great, and it's about Alexander the Great. And you can find it. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. You can find it. And between the two of those guys, it takes them like 20 minutes to get out 3 lines of dialogue between the two of them.
Wow.
And anyway, so here's the thing I figured out. This is my super actor geeky thing. Here's the thing I figured out about imitating those two guys. First of all, when you're doing Shatner, William Shatner is like, he tends to speak on the exhale of the breath. He speaks like that. And Adam West has got a really similar cadence, and it's hard to do, but the trick to Adam West is he tends to speak on the inhale of the breath. And Shatner speaks quickly between the exhales of the breath, and Adam West takes his time with the line, "You dastardly fiend." So I find, and boy, did that ever help my career figuring that out. No. But yeah, that's my actor geeky thing. Yeah, like those guys, you ever see those movies, The Trip? Like The Trip to Italy? It's Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon, 2 British actors. And they go on these wonderful trips to Italy and Spain, and they talk about all their existential crises and all this stuff, even though they're like incredibly successful actors and extremely well off, yet they still have something to be unhappy about somehow. And they complain about being cast as a villain in Doctor Who and stuff. But anyways, one thing that these guys do a lot of is they talk about imitations, and they talk about how everybody does, they don't do Clint Eastwood properly, and they don't imitate Michael Caine properly, and then they get into some really technical actor thing about how you do these voices, and that's my version, comparing Adam West and William Shatner.
It was a very good version, and Adam West actually appeared on he did voice work on The Simpsons.
On The Simpsons as Adam West, and Family Guy.
Oh, Family Guy too. Okay.
He's known to a whole other generation of fans just from Family Guy who don't know him as Batman at all. When I saw him at Comic-Con in 2011, I think it was, there were people there to see him just for Family Guy. They didn't know anything about him playing Batman.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They were only learning about it the first time there. Yeah.
Are you a Family Guy fan?
I liked a lot of the early stuff. I think there's a lot of funny stuff. I think there's also a lot of stuff that makes me cringe. It's they walk a line that they cross a lot. There's a vibe to it that I like a lot. I also like stuff like Rick and Morty a lot, and the new Harley Quinn animated show is just like friggin' brilliant. If you can watch that, do it.
Okay.
Somebody described it as Rick and Morty for girls, which is not entirely wrong.
It's toned down a little bit, right?
What's that?
Is it toned down?
No. It's just as irreverent and pushing the boundaries as Rick and Morty, except it just does it in a different direction.
Okay. Also, to go back to Monitor the Vampire, you said that space episode you did, was it the alien voice 1, 2, and 3? Zapman?
Possible.
Yeah. Is that it?
I think I was a guy running a space camp that the vampire went to, and I slipped into a Shatner thing.
Okay.
They also had me record at the same time. It was great when you have a voice director who knows what you can do that well. To be called in for that is great. They also had me do Rod Serling from Twilight Zone, which was another imitation that I did. So they had me hit different episode. I think same session but different episode. They're all up on Tubi.com. I think they're all up. So if anybody wants to spend a great deal of time searching through those, go for it.
Great. Now's the time to plug yourself. If you permit, Terrence, I'm going to ask you one more question. Maybe afterwards we can go with maybe some pictures you got or some video presentations.
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to I wanted to outline that in 1993 you were nominated for a Gemini Award for the Best Comedy Performance category for your work with the Vestibules and the Just for Laughs series.
Yeah, we did. It was a very big deal for us. We did the gala at Just for Laughs in 1991, July of 1991. Milton Berle actually hosted our gala.
Oh, Uncle Milty.
He got our name wrong and everything. It was great. And we did a sketch called Looking for a Job in Quebec. And which was about this guy who came into a job interview where he had to be bilingual. This being a much bigger deal back in the 80s and 90s. You know, you didn't have whole generations who grew up in French immersion and stuff of Anglos. A lot of Anglos still struggled with the French thing back then. And so anyways, he goes in to this job interview and he's English, but the interviewer says, you know, you're bilingual for this job. And the first thing the guy says is, well, I am bilingual, but I want to practice my English a little bit. And of course we know he's Anglo, right? And then proceeds to get trapped because the guy starts talking to him in French and he can't really speak French. And he says things like, oui, j'ai des pantalons avec la moutarde et les fourmis et, you know, he doesn't sing whatever it is. Anyway, yeah, I didn't play that part. Paul Perry played that to great effect. Quite brilliant, that part. Anyways, that sketch caught on like wildfire in this province at the time and in Canada in general. And so we did it at Just for Laughs, and it ended up on the highlight of the Just for Laughs TV series. And we were nominated for a Gemini Award, which we didn't win, but we got to go to Toronto and perform in the Gemini Awards and got to meet Al Waxman, which is, you know, a Canadian dream for all certain age.
The King of Kensington.
Yes, King of Kensington. Yeah. Met some of the guys, never met Wayne and Schuster, but met some of the guys that were on the Wayne Schuster show, which was kind of trippy for me because I used to watch that as a kid. And it was an interesting experience. But no, we didn't win. And it's the only time I ever walked the red carpet, and it was the most sad red carpet I'd ever seen. It was the ceremony was in March, and it was raining, and I think there were like maybe 7 people watching the Canadian celebrities arrive for the Gemini Awards. Yeah, not exactly the Emmys.
Okay, so Terrence, do you have a couple of things you want to show us that you prepared, like maybe some pictures or some videos?
Sure. All right, I'm saying hi to Jess here, who's on the screen.
Yeah.
Let me see what I got here. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to. Here we go. Okay, hopefully, technically, this thing's gonna work. This is a sketch that I did with the Vestibules on a CBC series called Comics. The less I say about it beforehand, the better. But here we go.
Okay, here we go. Perfect.
Sunday, the box office match that had to be re-edited for television is finally here. John Thorson is a tough, streetwise cop with the foulest mouth on the force. It's the world television premiere of Thorson Street Cop, redubbed for TV, suitable for family viewing.
Well, you went in there without a warrant, Thorson. Yeah, you can take your warrant and stick it in the garbage. Talk to me that way again, Thorson, and you're fired!
The television premiere of the top-grossing motion picture, Thorson Street Cop.
Hey, bug off, man! You gosh darn hooligan. Double-cross me. I'll rip your hose off. Shove it up your nose. All right, man. I'll be cool.
Finally, it can be shown on television in a special redubbed version.
Swear when I catch those freaking son of a gun, lemon-sucking, disrespectful jerks, gonna make them eat their own belly button lid for breakfast. Son, your language.
He's mean, he's fearless, and he speaks his mind.
Thorson, you're nothing but a nitwit and a so-and-so. Yeah, that's a compliment coming from a cuckoo head like you.
Thorson, Street Cop, Sunday at 9. Don't miss it.
So there we go.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really well shot. David Story, a great director who did some Tom Cochran videos and went on to direct most of the series Corner Gas on Canadian TV. He directed that, and he did a great job. He really went for that 70s vibe and that sort of that whole sort of 70s 80s cop show thing. Yeah, it was a really fun part to play too. This was living like my 5-year-old dream of being a cop on TV, because any other cops I played in film or TV roles were nothing like that at all. They tended to be sort of boring, a few lines kind of thing. Yeah, so that was a blast. I remember driving that car, and there was this big 70s car, and it ran on manual transmissions. I don't know where they got it. They must have something. And so like the thing wasn't working. It kept stopping and going and stopping and going. And I had to smoke. I don't smoke. I never smoked in my life. I've got smoke going. I've got smoke coming up into my eyes. I'm not used to smoking. I'm driving this car that doesn't quite work properly, and I'm figuring, oh my God, how is this ever going to look like anything remotely convincing? But when I look at it, it's like I must have been using all those distractions or something, because it looks great.
It just goes to show that vaping actually existed back then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because today the people who used to smoke vape, right? So I guess that was probably the introduction to vaping.
Possibly. One thing I'm grateful for is the smoking thing never caught on after that. I was a little worried about, oh geez, I got to smoke multiple takes and all that, and it bothered my eyes a lot. That's all I remember about that.
Well, we're about the same age, so if you're like me, I'm sure you can relate very well to cop shows like The Streets of San Francisco.
Yep.
Magnum
Absolutely.
PI. Well, Private Eye. Then you had Cannon. You had Kojak as well.
Kojak, Mannix, Hawaii Five-0. Yeah.
There's one I loved. The one I loved was Serpico with Al Pacino. I mean,
that was a movie. Yeah.
Wasn't there kind of a series that came out afterwards?
I'd have to look it up, but I know the movie was very big. Yeah.
Okay. So you're an actor, you're a teacher, you teach improv, you also did some comedy. So my understanding is you might want to try maybe some comedy here on the show. The platform's yours.
Oh, you're talking about stand-up comedy. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to stand up. You can say the joke sitting down, by the way.
The only way I know how. I did stand-up comedy for about 17 minutes in the early 2000s. I started dabbling in it. It was a lot of fun to do. I liked it. I was doing a lot of other stuff at the time, and it was hard to really give it the focus that I really needed to give it. So I kind of just stopped on that. Also, it's a tough world to walk into when you got to start when you're like 19, 20, and you got to be willing to go and do all those crappy gigs in little towns in Ontario where nobody laughs at anything for years on end. That's the kind of thing that if you really want to do stand up in this country, that's what you got to do. Anyways, I wasn't into doing any of that at that age. So, but yeah, I had a few jokes. I was doing a lot of open mic nights and opening and stuff. And when I would start meeting people in the audience who would start quoting my material back to me, I realized, geez, I got to either write new material or get out of doing this, because I'm not this familiar with material. Okay, what did I do? Okay, some of the stuff involved a lot of swearing and stuff that I can't, that you wouldn't want me to do here. But what were some of the jokes? A lot of times when you're waiting for a bus in the city, I know you're a bus driver. Don't take this one wrong.
It's okay.
A lot of times when you're waiting for a bus in the city, And you're standing there in the rain and or a snowstorm or whatever, and a bus comes along and it says en transit, and then another bus comes along and it comes en transit, and so I finally decided to move to En Transit Street. It's where they all go, right?
That's true.
To that. What was another? I'm trying to remember another a joke that I did that I can repeat here. There's a thing about French being a very sexy language, and people say, "Oh, French, it's so sexy," and all that. And I'm not really sure about that myself. I mean, because like, how many times have you been in the metro and have you heard communicate?
Yeah.
Doesn't do it for me. I don't know about you.
No. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
not everything was about Quebec, but yeah, it went on like that.
did you take the bus a lot? Up until what age were you taking the bus?
I'm 56 now. 56.
Welcome to the club.
I only stopped taking the bus during this pandemic. I would take the bus to gigs and to work and to go teach classes and to go do the simulation acting work that I do and all that stuff. Yeah, I was doing that up until March. I only stopped because of, well, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything online, and I still don't quite have the courage to get on a bus right now just because of the COVID thing and that. I don't even know where my Opus card is at the moment, honestly. Yeah.
And there's our friend Josa. With a nice comment for us. Thank you, Josa. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. Okay, Terrence, you spent 4 years studying the Meisner technique with the legendary Canadian acting teacher, Jacqueline McClintock, and she had a profound effect on you, I understand.
Yeah, she was an incredible teacher. No offense to Josa, who's also an awesome teacher, but Jacqueline McClintock was, she's, and I still, when I teach, I steal from her all the time, but sadly, she's no longer with us.
Wow.
She was, she died of cancer in her early 50s. It's very sad. But when I studied with her, it was amazing. It was like some of the really, really hardest stuff I've ever done. And I still, that's really where a lot of my acting chops that I have today, a lot of the more dramatic stuff that I do, it all comes from there. It's all, and she would push and push and push. And you've done classes with me. She wasn't anywhere near as nice as I am. She was much more aggressive, but like, she got results. It was incredible. And the technique is really, it's a really tough technique to learn. It really makes you raw and like emotionally naked, and it's hard for a lot of people to do, including me. It was really hard, but it was an incredible experience. It was. I sum it up as it was 4 years of, you're in your head, you're still in your head, get out of your head. And that imitation does not, first of all, not accurate to her, and secondly, doesn't do justice, because she really did get results. But that's the memory that I have, that I stuck with. And she pushed me to do all kinds of stuff that I didn't think I could ever pull off. And I did. I went to a lot of emotional places that I previously had not gone to as an actor, and I draw on that a lot, because most of the stuff I audition for is not comedy. Actually, if it's a commercial, a lot of times they'll call me in for commercials. Generally, in commercials, they want something light or funny, to the point where they'll even say, "Can you make this funnier?" And I'll say, "Can you pay me to rewrite your spot?" I've never said that. I've been tempted, but I haven't said that. We all want the gig, right? But in terms of TV and film and that, I'm always going. almost never get sent in for comedy stuff. I'm always going in for dramatic roles and yeah, stuff that really calls on having those chops that Jacqueline helped me get, because she really brought my acting to a whole other level. Which, yeah, like I did a film called, now unfortunately I tried to get it up here, but it won't play on my computer. I did a short film, independent short film called Thumb Screws, which I actually put on my demo reel because it's a film about torture. It's a short film. It's a very powerful short film about torture, and I play the torturer. And I don't think I ever could have gone to those. And it's quite. I actually would debate showing it on here because some of it's kind of gory, okay. And I couldn't technically play it here anyway. But those are some tough places to go to be a guy that inflicts that on another human being. And I never would have been able to do that without the work that I did with Jacqueline. Yeah.
Were you inspired?
Did really well. Yeah.
Were you inspired by the guy in Saw? I mean, gory. I mean, I can imagine the way you're describing your film. It's gory, but I watched maybe a couple of movies, the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
And I'm asking myself, what did these guys smoke? Like, oh my God, I mean, come on. How could you even think of something like that?
Yeah. Well, that's horror. That's like made for entertainment. Like that's highly stylized, and the guy. I mean, that would be a tough part to play. The Jigsaw or whatever his name is. It's largely a voiceover role, but that would be. But Thumb Screws was a much more realistic kind of. It was about like, ostensibly the CIA and the way that they torture people. Or it was never really defined as such, but clearly there was some kind of political background to it. And it played at Fantasia, it played at a bunch of film festivals, did well. Yeah, so, but in horror, yeah, I haven't done a great deal of horror movies. I'm a fan of them. I haven't really done a lot of them, but largely because of this face and the dimples, they don't cast me in horror movies, which I got to say, Ghost is the name that the director goes by of Thumb Screws. I really have to commend him for casting me as a torturer. I put that on my reel immediately because I get sent in for commercials. I get sent in for cute dad roles or cute granddad roles, and it's like I just want to show these people there's more. I can do more.
Wow. Yeah. Do you have some pictures you want to share with us? Because I know that you had some pictures you prepared.
I do, yes. Let's see what I got here. Hang on, I'm just poking around on these. All right, okay, here we go. All right, yeah, let me do the share screen thing here. Hang on. And where are my pictures now? Nope. Oops.
Speaking of horror films, one film I can't say I enjoy, but that it was well done. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Oh God,
yes.
Was that something?
Ah, here we are. Here we go. Application window. Okay.
Okay, when you're ready.
So, here we go. This is me as a homeless guy in a short film called Byline, which you can see on my demo reel, which was on my website. TerenceBowman.com. Yeah, this was an interesting shoot. It was a very small part, but it was great to get into that role. Makeup person was amazing. She studied photos of me and got hair that would actually match my real hair. That's not an actual beard, by the way. Full disclosure.
It's well done.
Yeah. And we were shooting in LaFontaine Park that day, and I made $20 from people just walking by.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it was clear that we were shooting a thing. I don't think anyone thought I was a real. The clothes are too nice, I gotta say. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We have another photo here. Oh yeah, that's me as a biker. Yeah. Again, you know, stop with the cute dad stuff, guys. That's me. That's me as Thorson again. That's Thorson the street cop from the sketch. The wonderful thing is I put these photos up on my site. Nobody knows it's from a comedy sketch. It looks like I was in a cop movie. It's wonderful. That's a headshot of mine taken by my partner, the brilliant photographer Irene Suchaki. She's great. She doesn't do headshots, by the way, but she does for me.
Sorry, Terrence. What's her name? I'm gonna plug her.
Okay. I Poetry, you can find EYE Poetry if you want to. She's a very successful photographer. Mostly she does landscapes and stuff. It's very rare that people like me appear in her photos, but she did this one, and it's actually not an official headshot. It's a shot I love, but yeah, she's really good. Look her up. This is from Are You Afraid of the Dark in 1995. I played a ghost gambler, and boy, the fashions were different in 1995. Hey, look at that. That seems like a year ago. Yeah, I was a ghost gambler who'd been on a train for like 80 years. I studied Kenny Rogers a great deal just to get that gamble vibe down. No, no. No, I didn't. I took one look at the mustache and the costume, and I was like, yeah, I know what this is. I need to know what to do with this. That's fun. That's I actually have one of my students at MSOPA recognize me because he used to watch the show as a kid. Are You Afraid of the Dark was a very popular show with kids in the 90s, and it's kind of become a big retro thing. And I've actually had students at MSOPA recognize me from this role, which boggles my mind, I gotta say. That's a headshot. Me doing the thing. This is me as Satan. Which was from a Fringe show that I did, Angst, Rage, and Toy Ducks. It was a series of short scenes and stuff. And I played Satan, who had his own morning show, and and reviewed movies. Including the Passion of the Christ, which was a big movie at the time. Yeah, you had to be there. It was brilliant. That I was having dental surgery at the time, so I decided to do this shot.
Is it a result from a hit you got from a baseball bat?
Yeah, from a big plastic novelty baseball bat. Right there. I was very clumsy with it and lost a tooth. Fun story. No, it's actually a much more long and involved story that I won't get into, but it was a great opportunity to just do a shot like this. Sorry if I frightened people. This is on the spot improv. This is one of our promo shots. We were having a hard time. This is a great story. We were having a hard time finding photographers at the time who wanted to shoot us, just for logistical reasons, a lot of different schedules to work with. And I finally suggested, if we go to the photo center at Walmart, you can just show up anytime and it's cheap and we could just do it. And everybody kind of loved the because you can spin it as a joke too, right? So everyone kind of loved that idea. So this was their birthday props, which normally I imagine they would do this with 5-year-olds or something. So that was my promotional shot for On the Spot Improv. There's a whole bunch more. I only have the one of me, of course, because I'm the most important thing. And this is me doing stand-up at the Comedy Works. This was actually taken at the Sean Keane, a Montreal stand-up and good friend of mine who sadly passed away about a while ago now, like 6-7 years ago now. There was a tribute show to him, and he always used to wear a dark suit and a red tie on stage. So that's what I did. This is possibly the last time I did my stand-up ever, was at this show. Yeah.
On the spot, I recognize that in the
Yes,
background.
on the spot. Yeah, that was our home base. We used to do when I
Okay.
used to do 6 shows a week of improv, as I was saying
Oh,
before.
wow.
And I did them all there, and we painted that on the wall. And up until they closed, it was still there. Matter of fact, it's probably still there now because that building is sitting empty right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, what else? That's another headshot taken by Irene. That's another cool one. This the only time I ever had my name in lights. That's I headlined a weekend at Theatre St. Catherine.
Oh, nice.
November 2 to 5, 2005. And I did my one-man show, and I had some comedian friends open for me. And the truth is they had a last-minute cancellation and asked me if I could jump in, and I did. And much to my surprise, they put my name up outside of the marquee, and that's the only time that's ever happened. And I also cropped out the lineups around the block of people waiting to get in to see me. So
pretty cool. Nice.
That's
Oh.
a character I used to do called Thorgak, who is a caveman stand-up comedian. Yeah, he would do stand-up, and but all of it caveman material, you know. I'm trying to remember some of it now. He used to do, like, you know, those a lot of comedians do the jokes of like I'm half Jewish and I'm half Greek, which means I go to the restaurant and blah blah blah. I'm not even going to try to make that joke. So he would say I'm half Cro-Magnon, half Neanderthal. That means me ride horses while also trying to eat them. Man, words, wonderful stuff. And what else? Oh, there we go. That's me, Captain Kirk, with the space hippie behind me. One of the episodes we did was the episode with the space hippies, where they come on and do songs. It's not one of your better Star Trek episodes, but it made great theater. Yeah, that's from the cover of the McGill Tribune, I think. That's another headshot. I just skipped by the headshots or so. That's my current headshot right there. This was taken by a great photographer named Sabrina Reeves, and since I got that, man, I have never auditioned for so many CEOs and
really nice
in my life as I did since I got that shot. Yeah,
Mm.
they really do go off headshots. Don't kid yourself.
Nice.
That's me writing. That's every writer who's ever lived staring at a blank piece of paper.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've done a lot of writing too in my career.
Mhm.
This was from my other friend show, being Terence Bowman. If you can see that, it's kind of tiny, but it's me coming out of my own head. Artist friend of mine named Meinert Henson did that. And do we have anything else? That's me thinking. That's another headshot, another headshot, another headshot. I don't care about headshots. And there we're at the end of the line there. So there we go.
Very interesting. Very nice. Terrence. Okay. You were in a feature film called No Good Deeds with Samuel L. Jackson, and also Sum of All Fears with Ben Affleck.
Yes, and I have great stories about both. You're lucky.
Okay, go ahead. The platform's yours.
All right. Hello again, Jeff. Thank you. Yeah, so the Samuel Jackson was a great story because this was way before he was Nick Fury and did all that cool. He was always doing cool stuff, let's face it. And I was doing, this was at a time when, and I can hardly believe this was the case, but it was at a time when I was very busy and there was a lot of stuff shooting here. And I remember I went into audition for stuff, and I was booked on this film called No Good Deed. And I thought, honestly, I thought it was a TV movie because I'd also auditioned for one of them. And I wasn't really keeping track. Anyways, I knew my part and all that, of course. And it was a very small role. So I get on set, and we're about to do the scene, and this guy comes in, and I'm thinking, I'm doing a scene with this guy, and I'm kind of thinking, geez, this guy's the lead in this. He's not that good. But then what I realized later is he was the stand-in that I was rehearsing it. I didn't realize it. I thought I was on some low-budget TV movie, and this guy, you know, and we did it a couple of times, and I was like, whoa, okay, maybe he saves it all for the camera, I guess. Doing stand-in work. They put, you know, if I was doing stand-in work, I wouldn't give it my all in a rehearsal for a scene I was never going to be in anyway. So they say, okay, get him out of there. Let's get Sam in there. And this guy walks in to do the scene with me, and I'm thinking, that looks a lot like Samuel L. Jackson. The guy that's standing right in front of me is Samuel L. Jackson. And this is while they're going, and camera, action, speed, and all this. And this, what's going through my head is, I am in a scene with Samuel L. Jackson, right? Oh my God, I'm about to a scene with Samuel L. Jackson. And this is while they're, you know, right as they're just going action. I didn't realize I was working with him until I was actually working with him. So, and I got to say, I was really grateful for that, because if I'd have known, I would have been like lying awake all night. I have to do a scene with Samuel Jackson tomorrow. I have to do a scene with Samuel Jackson tomorrow. I'm not going to, what am I forgotten my lines. So, not knowing, it was wonderful. If you ever see the movie, just don't blink, whatever you do, because you'll miss. And yeah, action. So that's Samuel Jackson story. And it turned out the director was a guy named Bob Raffleson, who directed 5 Easy Pieces with Jack Nicholson, and a whole bunch of other great, King of Marvin Gardens, and a whole bunch of other. I didn't even realize this, as I think it was actually the last film that he directed. I didn't realize any of this until I was actually doing it. What I wouldn't give to be that busy that I'm not keeping track of what movies I'm in. Yeah. And then Some of All Fears was another interesting story. What's the story? Oh yeah, okay. So they called me, and they said, actually my agent called me, and she said, you in Some of All Fears, but you have to drive a truck, and you have to be able to drive standard transmission. Another nightmare driving acting story. And you know, I had an acting teacher once who used to say, no matter what they ask, you always say yes. Can you sing? Yes. Can you dance? Yes. Can you juggle? Yes. Can you ride a unicycle? Yes. Can you do all those things at the same time? Yes. So so I said, yes, I know how to drive standard. I don't. Oh. And so I went to the driving school. It was down the street from where I was living at the time, and I said, I'm in a movie with Ben Affleck, and I have to learn how to drive standard in a week. Can you do that? And the woman there said, yeah, we could, but what's the real reason you need to drive standard? I said, no, it actually is. And they managed to squeeze me in. I worked with different instructors. I was and I did a crash course in a week, and then I get on set and I have to drive this truck, and it's a super elaborate scene in the movie. The director told me it was the most complicated shot in the whole movie. It's right after the explosion goes off at the Super Bowl, and if you haven't seen Some of All Fears yet, come on guys, get with it. Atomic explosion goes off at the Super Bowl, and there's debris everywhere, and there's and I was a National Guard driver who was driving this truck, and Ben Affleck does lines with me, and I get into the truck, and I'm super nervous about this because I got to do lines with Ben Affleck while I'm driving a truck that's got a Steadicam operator in the back, and and I have to drive standard, which I don't know, and I look down at the transmission and I look. It's an automatic transmission.
I hope you weren't driving it like a standard.
No. The old habits kicked right back in. And then, so I was driving it, and finally Mr. Affleck comes in, and I'm doing my lines with him, And then the first AD comes and he says, we just need to talk. Can we just get you out of there for a second? And then I see they're putting one of the crew, they're putting the same wardrobe on him that I was wearing, which was a National Guard uniform. And they're putting him in. And this is like the actor's worst nightmare. And finally, they told me that because the truck had camera equipment in it, and because it had to go over a certain speed for insurance purposes, they couldn't have an actor drive it. So what they finally did was I waited around shooting everything else, and then I went into the truck and they recorded me and Ben Affleck doing our lines to be dubbed in behind the back of the head of this guy. And then 9/11 happened and they cut the entire sequence out of the movie.
Geez,
but I'm still on the IMDb page as being in there. So
well, at least you kept your credits. Mm-hmm. So you did that. You had recurring roles in TV shows such as Blue Mountain State and Big Wolf on Campus.
Yes.
Now, we had a guest a couple of weeks back, Dominic DeRosa.
Yeah.
He was also on Big Wolf on Campus. Did you run into him on the show?
I remember him. Yeah, I do. I'm looking up my Big Wolf on Campus picture here to show you guys.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, here we are. Let's take a look at that. Oh, no, that's not where we want to be. Right, let's go back to that. It's fun to watch somebody working with a computer, right? Yeah, there we go. That's me in Blue Mountain State as the ref, which I appeared in 3 episodes of that show.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was the series finale, which was a 2-part episode that I was in, where they play a big football game out in a cornfield, kind of like Field of Dreams, but with football instead of baseball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have an American flag on because I'm an American ref as opposed to a Brazilian footballer. It's so bizarre that they need to put an American flag on a referee in a football game. Anyways, let's not get into that.
Okay, we were in the same movie. Actually, you had a bigger role than I did. I was an extra in the movie. This is like a TV movie. It was slated to be on CBS, but what happened is that they ended up sending this to an affiliate network. And we're talking about the Reagans here. That was very controversial at the time.
Yeah, it was. The Republicans made it controversial. Again, not the political, but it was James Brolin, Josh Brolin's dad, who played Reagan, which I thought he did quite a good job with, because that's the kind of role you can easily go into caricature territory, and he didn't. And I was in the scene. It was right before Reagan gets shot. Actually, we were shooting. It was the scene where he goes into to give a talk to the AFL-CIO, which is a big American union. And then when he comes out, he got shot. But I was in the scene where he goes in. And what happened with that role, with that film, was they had Reagan saying things about the AIDS crisis that the Republicans felt made him look insensitive to the AIDS crisis, which historically not entirely. The other thing is the lines that James Brolin was delivering as Reagan were direct quotes from Reagan and things that he said specifically about the AIDS crisis. And but the Republicans, who have mythologized this guy beyond belief, were very upset with that this was appearing in a big broadcast movie, and it's the only time I ever appeared on Entertainment Tonight, because Entertainment Tonight was covering the controversy, and they were showing scenes from the movie, and the one scene they showed was my scene. The Mary Hart neglected to mention me, but I was on Entertainment Tonight for that, and yeah, so that eventually they showed it on Showtime, which is another network that CBS owns, and it wasn't as big a network then; it was still just starting out. They didn't have Homeland or Dexter or anything like that yet. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So it ended up being show. I still get little itsy bitsy tiny whiny royalty checks from that every once in a while. So they're still showing it somewhere.
Awesome. You know, when you were starting off in acting, like in your early years, in your teens, particularly, your parents were not too warm at the idea that you were going into acting. It took a while for them to catch on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't get a tremendous amount of encouragement to go into acting. They saw it. I think in my teens they saw it as a hobby I did, and I don't think they really saw it as a serious thing that I wanted to do for a while. But eventually, you know, as I kept doing it, and I went and studied something else. I went and studied communication, so it looked like I was going into another field. But then I realized, no, it's not what I want to do. I want to get back into acting. And but once I started, you know, actually making a living for it and paying my rent doing it, everything changed. So yeah, they were always very proud of everything I did. They came to all my shows, even though they must have been. I don't see the appeal of a lot of the shows I did for them, but they still came to them. So yeah, so I can't fault them for that.
Okay, and one way I can understand a little bit what you're training with the improv, like you're teaching how that can come in, you know, to use in movies. An example is you were telling me you're on a set waiting for 8-9 hours, and now the daylight's coming down, and then all of a sudden the ADs come out running and dashing. Come on, guys, we're going on right away, and you didn't even have time to like mingle with the actors. It's like it's got to be like, let's get it done now. Let's do it.
I had a lot of experiences like that, actually. The specific one that was on Big Wolf on Campus, that story. We were shooting actually out of John Abbott, my alma mater, and we were shooting on the football field out there. And I was waiting around 8 hours, and the sun was going down, and they hadn't shot my scene with the lead actor in the show yet. And I hadn't met him because he's off running around shooting stuff all day. And I only just met him, and he kind of went, "So you want to go over the scene?" Yes, I want to go over the scene. And we had like 5-10 minutes to run the whole scene. And all I could think then was, thank God I do so much improv, because I'm just used to doing this stuff on the fly. And, you know, we got out there and we did it. And we did it in the time that they had left, and they just got it in before the sun went down. And I had a lot of experiences like that where they were shooting outside and they were losing the light, and you just had to shoot stuff super fast, and you just had to really wing it. Like there wasn't, you know, you ideally done all you've seen, but once when you get it on its feet and you're working with an actor that you haven't met yet, and he's right there giving you lines, and it changes stuff. So so yeah, it's very useful. Also, when I've been in plays and people forget lines, and suddenly we've jumped ahead 2 pages of dialogue, and you know, like, and you know, you're the one, if you get the improv background, you're the one that's going to try and bring that back. You're the one that's going to try and throw in a line that's from somewhere that's further back, and hopefully everyone else will catch on. When things go wrong, you know, or somebody drops a prop and it falls off and rolls into the audience, you know, and it's in the script that you pick it up, you're the one that's got to come up with something. So all that stuff is very useful when things go wrong in theater. It's very useful to have an improv background. Also, just in general, going out on stage in theater, when I do it, it's like the thing I'm always thinking is, I usually do this without a script. I have a script. I've rehearsed it. I know my lines. I know what I'm doing. This is easy. And not to say the theater is easy. It's not. It's far, far from easy. But in terms of the nerves that you get, I don't get them in the same way as I did before I did improv.
Well, okay. And if we go back like to your early years, you were influenced like everybody else by great actors such as William Shatner. You also talked about Roy Scheider, Jessica Lange, Robert Duvall, and Gillian Anderson. In which way did these actors influence you?
Yes. What's that?
I'm sorry. In which way did these actors influence you?
Well, Gillian Anderson, I became a fan of on X-Files, and I just thought she was just brilliant. And she's gone on to become even better in the years since that. I just think like she just owns it. It's just, I don't know how else to put that. Yeah, Roy Scheider is one of those actors that makes it look easy, and he's done a lot of incredible roles. And I used to watch him on this show. I mean, he's done Jaws and all that jazz. These are incredible performances. I used to watch him on this show called SeaQuest, which was this underwater adventure thing, and Steven Spielberg produced. They had shows there where there were like killer plants and giant sea monsters and stuff. And Scheider he was like the captain of a submarine on the show, and he never missed a beat. He had these ridiculous storyline plots and lines and stuff, and he was just bam there all the time. I think that probably impressed me with about his acting more than anything else, just because he had so little to work with. He had so much to work against, and he still did it. But I mean, other roles, you know, Jaws is an incredible performance. Even the way he does that last line, and again, if Jaws guys, sorry for the spoilers, but when he's shooting the shark and he says, "Smile, you son of a," and of course they cut because before he could say the rest of that, so that their ratings wouldn't change. But it's just, yeah, and I know I worked with a director who worked with him who said that just say anything to him, give him any direction. He was just like, yeah, okay. No ego, no attitude, no, just, yep, I can do that. Yep, no problem. And that's very cool to me. Shatner was just an early influence, and I still think, you know, a lot of people give him a hard time. A lot of people do that, but we're talking, the guy has done what? He's done like 10 different TV series right now. He's won 2 Emmys, 6 top 10 grossing motion pictures, Stratford, Broadway. I really don't believe he got all of that because he sucks.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Terrence, you wanted to talk about 2 movies in particular, It's a Wonderful Life and Alien, because you were saying that they're 2 extreme opposites.
And both brilliant movies in their own right. Yes.
Okay. So talk to us about each one.
It's a Wonderful Life is sheer optimism in the face of a lot of very difficult stuff, a lot of very difficult stuff that Jimmy Stewart is facing in his life, and it's also very grassroots Americana, pretty lefty stuff for its time, really. It's hilarious because at one point they talk about how Potter, the sort of villain of the piece, the big business villain guy, charges like he's charging 3% interest, and it's like the credit cards do 3 times that interest now, and this is the big evil guy. And so, yeah, I mean, just it's a lot of optimism. It's a lot of that doesn't exist anymore, and I don't think ever did to begin with. Really, that idyllic 1940s small town America stuff, which I think is kind of a myth unto itself, but it's a well realized myth. And Alien is a whole other. The Alien is people trapped together on a spaceship who don't like each other generally, and it's very dark. And the only person who has a handle on it is Ripley, and end up getting killed. Again, if you haven't seen these movies, guys, sorry for the spoilers, but we're talking old movies here. So, you know, it's incredibly exciting. It's got a great ending. It's got the first woman real like hero, really, who, you know, watching it at 15, it wasn't even on my radar that she was going to be the one to kill the monster in the end. Again, don't complain to me if you haven't seen these movies yet. Yeah, so and it's just it's dark, and it works on so many different levels. It's got all these sexual allegories, and it's also kind of about the working class, and there's issues of feminism in there, and it's just like there's all kinds of stuff going on in it. It's really quite a brilliant piece.
Okay. And you also do something really wonderful, because you hold benefit shows by taking movies whose roles are predominantly male, and you give these roles, and you cast women to play the roles. One example that you do is Die Hard. This is pretty interesting. Can you talk to us about
Yes.
it?
Yeah. It's a great tie-in to Alien, by the way. I do these benefit shows for the Canadian Women's Foundation. I've done them at Mainline Theatre for a few years now. I take a movie like Die Hard, which is really like one of the most male movies I know. It's great. It's incredibly well crafted. It's a great action thriller for what it is. It really is. There's also a lot of things that always bug me about it too. So, and by putting women in these roles, it really changes everything. Really, you kind of start to deconstruct the movie and see how it works and stuff. And there were readings. I wouldn't even want to think about trying to stage Die Hard as a piece of theater. That I don't know about that, but we do it as readings, and I do it in December. I've done it twice now. I don't think I'll be able to do it this December, except maybe some online version, and it's great. And the other movie I did was Predator, which is another uber male movie, and I also did that. That was we did that like the weekend before the whole lockdown kicked in, and for all those actors and another great cast of actors, a lot of major theater names in the city, and for all of us, it was the last time we were on stage, and probably for a long time for everybody. That's a whole other thing.
Okay, so you were telling me that you want to be an actor. This is fine and dandy, but you have to get the necessary training. You just don't wake up one morning, you want to be an actor, and you're on set and whammo. Joseph was talking about it on the last podcast. It just doesn't happen like that, right? And you need some proper training. So where could you get some proper training?
Well, first of all, for square one, take my classes. No, actually do, but
well, look at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, there you go. My advice is my advice to actors starting out: start doing it. Do community theater. Make your own short films. It's super easy now. Everybody's got an HD camera on their phone. You can edit on your phone now. I mean, make your own short film. Do community theater. Do whatever, get together with your friends. Get a show in the Fringe Festival someday when there is a Fringe Festival again. Just do it. And then training. That would be the other thing, is take a class, either my class, or if you're really serious about it, like go to Dawson or Concordia or John Abbott or if you want to work in French, there's a ton of great French theater schools in the city too. Just get training, or even if going to theater school isn't your thing, which I kind of understand, because it can be very difficult. Do what I did. Take a whole bunch of workshops. I did 2 years of pre-university theater at Abbott, and then I did voice workshops, and I studied Meisner, and I did all kinds of different workshops and stuff just to learn the craft. Take workshops in camera technique. That's something you up on set, and you don't know where you're looking and all that stuff. That's your last job. You don't know about hitting your marks and finding your light and all that stuff. That's your last job. Immerse yourself in it, and if you're really determined, you got to stick with it. A lot of people, they get a day job, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the day job takes over and they're done. I tend to think of it, side jobs is where I tend to think it's the better way to go. But that's me. But I not to go into specifics, but just stick with it, because if you stick with it, you will find something. There's something out there waiting for you. Okay.
And I understand, like we were saying off camera, you're also a private acting coach. You give some, let's say someone's got a big audition, they go see Terrence.
Yeah, sure. These days I'm doing it online, but if anyone's interested, you can contact me about that. I do that. Actually, online is a great medium for coaching.
Okay. And what would be the best way to contact you? Because after the show, I'm going to be putting together all your links in the description box, so that once we publish our video on YouTube, they can, contact you. So it's going to be like through there, like an email, a website or something?
Well, go to my website. You can reach me through my website. It's www.terencebowman.com.
Okay, hang on a second. www.
The name you see on your screen there, Terence Bowman, just lowercase and together, and .com.
There you go. Let me see if I got that right. Yeah. Perfect.
Wow.
Okay, it's up there. Okay. So guys, if you want to take Terence Bowman's classes, that's the place to go to. Terence,
you want to cast me in something? That's the place to go to. You want to cast me in something, that's the place to go to. My demo reel's up there. You can see a scene from Thumb Screws, the one that's not gory on there. Yeah. Anyway, go check it out.
Terence, as we're about to sign off over here, but one last thing. Apparently, you did something. We played the part of Chef Boyardee.
Oh, we're gonna close on that. Okay. We're gonna close on that. Okay. Yes, I did play Chef Boyardee. He's a very complicated man, Chef Boyardee. It was hard to get into his emotional skin. Really, it was a promotional thing that Chef Boyardee did a few years ago. I appeared. They hired a legion of Chef Boyardees. There are a whole bunch of guys my age who went into grocery stores, and we gave out free samples, and we played Chef Boyardee. And the Chef Boyardee company, being very serious about their branding, they were very specific about what the mustache should look like, what the I didn't have a beard then. That was pre-COVID beard time, and I had to have this fake mustache, and what the mustache should look like, and what angle you wear the hat at. And they actually had a guy who was they flew him in from Toronto to coach us on this. He was a guy who was a veteran Chef Boyardee who had done many appearances throughout the years, and he basically taught us a workshop on how to be Chef Boyardee in the stores. And this is probably the most publicity that I've given Chef Boyardee since that day. I was in a Costco in the South Shore. Bonjour, no, it's this is what it's like making a living as an actor. You do this stuff sometimes. These are the things that you do. People said, friends of mine used to ask me, what grocery store are you appearing at? Will you tell me where you're appearing at? I would say, no, I am not. Do not go. Do not come and see me doing this. Watch me do this other work. Do not come and see me doing this. Matter of fact, they were doing a promotion in one of the grocery stores in NDG where I live, and I said, please do not schedule me there. Do not make me appear there, because I know people, and they didn't want that either. They didn't want actors being recognized by their friends anyways, because they wanted to keep that veneer of very serious about Chef Boyardee. Anyways, very complicated man, very complicated journey that man has been on. Also, he's lived a really long time.
Okay, so
and that's,
Terence,
we're closing on the highlight of my career right there.
Well, it seems like you have a knack of pulling off these challenging roles that you are offered.
Yeah, it's true. I do.
Okay, So Terrence, to recap over here, you're going to be starting classes back in September. You're teaching right now the
Acting
improv
classes,
comedy, acting classes,
Yeah,
and
improv,
once again,
improv fun class. Yeah.
okay. The classes that the class I'm taking with you now, there are 2 classes left. It's called improv comedy. And when do you think there's going to be an upcoming class afterwards?
Another improv, probably
Yeah.
late August, September.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Okay, fantastic. So
Yeah.
people, if you guys want to take classes with Terrence, he's presently teaching at the Montreal School of Performing Arts. If you want to get some coaching from Terrence, I'm going to put that website up once again. You can contact Terrence on his website, and you can get some private acting, what do you call it? Coaching.
Call it coaching. Yeah.
Yeah, coaching. So, Terrence, thank you very much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is great. You know, you're unleashing a beast here. You want to have an actor talk about themselves for 90 minutes. That's quite a monster you're letting out of the box there. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Terrence, and thank you for the wonderful job you're doing as an acting teacher. I'm enjoying your class. Guys, I highly recommend that you take Terrence's class, and it's very affordable. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say prices, but it's very affordable, guys. So
they're on the
Terrence,
website.
Okay, they're on the website. Fantastic. Terrence, please stand by. I'm gonna be closing off, and I'll be coming right back to you. So stand by, Terrence. Okay, thank you.
Good night, everybody.
There you have it. That was Terence Bowman, an actor who was on our show tonight, a Canadian actor, very successful actor. He's had a wonderful career spanning over 30 years. We're going to be putting all the links in our description box where you can contact and go see Terrence. So once again, thank you for tuning in. And in closing, we invite you to come onto our YouTube channel called Bobby's Short Shorts. Come on and come and watch our productions. You want to watch at least 2 minutes, then you subscribe. You want to leave us a like, some comments, and share our channel. Share the love. And in closing, I'm going to thank once again my wonderful friend and producer, Jenny Duhame, for producing the show. So people, thank you very much for tuning in. And we're going to be seeing you again next week with another exciting show. Good night.